Welcome back to The Devil in Detail. I'm Eli Schwab.
Vivat Grendel. I am Ben Granoff. That was a
Oh,
different
that's
opening.
right. Yes.
This is our Grendel Reread Comic Book Podcast, episode Sweet 16.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Man, last week, oh my gosh, what an amazing ep.
Yeah, it started out with just the thought, oh, maybe we'll call up Joe Matt and he'll do a little audio and we'll point to, we'll do 25 minutes with Joe Matt and then we'll sort of intercut it with our nerding out narrative and go to the videotape, and then Joe Matt will explain in 50 seconds how he painted this one panel. And instead we got to be flies on the wall on this 40-year comics collab friendship thing. It was awesome.
Oh my God, it was amazing. I mean, we were involved, but there was a lot of time where me and you were, like you said, kicked back, listening to these two old collaborators just talk about, being awesome in their lives in comics. And man, it was so cool.
Yeah, the art philosophy stuff was really powerful. And, there was just a lot of full circle stuff about how, this one lesson that Joe learned about theory and lighting and rendering, I'm still using those same ideas. And Matt was talking about, kind of fear as a motivator and, sort of being uncertain and 40,
learning
50
from your
years later,
mistakes.
still feeling that way. That was great.
So cool, man.
So if you'd like to be the next star-studded episode guest, send us an email.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Comment.
Yeah, we had Tony McMillan on there the week before, the 2 weeks previous to that. And I mean, so much fun. What a great guest.
Tell me about your week, Eli. What did you do?
Man, the ongoing saga of Wizerd. It is, they're here, and I packaged up I packaged up all the 3D and golds. They have been sent out. Speaking of which, I'll show you a gold here.
Yeah. This is real 90s gold, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it came out amazing. The print job, it's on this paper that's it's like this silver kind of
looks great
rainbow, and I added the gold and it just looks beautiful. And so I sent out all the gold and all the 3Ds. The 3D you did the anaglyph for, and I bought 3D glasses and I made everyone super cool 3D glasses and sent it out with that. So I was doing that for probably 2 or 3 nights straight. And then, I went to the post office and took them all in the 100-degree weather. And it's been so hot here. Insane. But that's mostly what I've been doing.
You really earned your publisher merit badges. So
yeah.
Those will be in the mail too.
Yeah, I did. And I just it's so weird. I print out like this, but then I'm on my website, and so I'll see the person. I'll double check the thing. I'll be like, what'd you get? I have a little code here, P's and L's. And then, over back on my table there, I have all the bonuses. So then it's a comic, and then it's a mini comic, and then it's a sticker, and then the Guano Guy sticker pack, and then the Clockwork Orange Jack Kirby sticker. And so I was picking and packing all this stuff every night, and I had it all laid out over the room. And oh man, I mean, I enjoy it. It was really fun. It's fun, late night stuff to do, and all day it was great. So that I got all that out, and now I'm waiting on one more shipment of just the A cover, and then I'll finish up all the rest of the orders, and then we'll see what happens after that. I'll probably take some to some local comic book shops. If you're in the Los Angeles area, you can get them at Collector's Paradise, Winnetka, or wherever the other one is, Burbank, I think.
Super.
Well, yeah. What about you, Ben? You say you got a busy week.
So you say you want a revolution, but I want to ask you one more question.
Oh.
Is Wizerd number 2 in the works? Is that something that you're thinking about?
Absolutely. Wizerd number 2 is in the works. People are already emailing me, getting stuff ready. They've submitted comics, and I'm going to do some more interviews. And I'm looking for other people to do more creator interviews. Mm-hmm. Maybe me and you could do like a Grendel feature or something.
No, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
You know what would be cool? I would like to do if you do any of those public domain black and white pieces, I could anaglyph some of that.
Oh my God. Do that, dude. Yeah, let's pick something out. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That'd be great. Cool. I love being able to use those old school comics. I'm going to definitely, have another set of that in there.
Yeah, man. Super cool.
Cool.
I had a big week. I have, as of like 90 minutes ago, I have moved all of the current creative rocks off my plate. So balls are either in people's courts or things are ready to go to print, and I am about to start breaking ground on my next big project, which is super exciting and very different, and I'm excited to kind of get into it. I laid out half of the next issue of Oh Fuck Why this week. And
Are you able to talk about what the new project is? Or
I can't talk about it.
wow,
I can't talk about it.
wow.
It's probably, if you know my 4-lettered work, all about underground horse shit and weed smoking and nonsense, you will not be expecting the YA wholesomeness that the new project has in store.
Oh wow.
Let me just put it that way.
Interesting.
It's very
Cool.
different for me. So it's I've had for a long time I've sort of wanted to do something that's more YA kid friendly, appealing kind of thing, because my style is like simple and minimal and friendly, but I tend to do a lot of like monsters and stuff, so it sort of skews in two different directions. So yeah, man, that's
Awesome.
I have moved all the stuff off of my plate by completing it. So I have a bunch of pages to color from David Browers, but he's going to be inking for a while, so I'm not worried about that.
Dang, yeah, and that's for the Image Grand Design project, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just wrapped up 15 pages that I sent your way, ready to go to print. So
sweet, man.
I'm
Yeah,
excited, man.
It's shaping up. That project's going to be something very special when it sees the light of day.
Is it going to be like 200 plus pages? Something.
That's what
something
Rocco
says.
Like that? Yeah, that's what I've been hearing.
What a hell of a thing.
I thought it was going to be like 60, but people are psyched on it. And from the mouth of Ed Piskor, his number one most anticipated book of the year.
Well, there's your pull quote right there. So
yeah.
Not too bad. You could do worse.
I think we could. What's that right here? Something? Is that
baller intro? Let's
do it. Boom.
Yeah. Vivat Grendel. It's like the devil is my best friend. 100 rows with the pen to the fork end, or till time end. Like Orion, Jupiter, my kin, bloodline private. We control the whole shit. The wolf won't beef, then we feast off the rip. Behold the devil in detail. Behold the devil in detail.
All right, Ben. What a great intro. Still slaps, if I may borrow a term from the youth. Big ups, Manus and Zach. Grendel.
And Grendel too.
Devil's Masque.
Right,
yeah.
Ah, shit. Can
what?
Remember.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the right.
Yeah,
one.
It is the right one. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is our 4th episode on this. This will either be our last one or we'll have one more depending on how fast we go.
Yeah. We pick up where we left off. Well, just to catch everyone up, we have Rachel and Hilly, 2 ladies in Gotham who are kind of who are working together kind of in this foursome with Hunter Rose Grendel and Bruce Wayne Batman. And here in this issue, kind of all their paths really intertwined. And where we left off, Commissioner Gordon had Grendel surrounded in Hilly and Rachel's apartment.
Right. Grendel has come to Gotham because he knows that's where Batman is.
Mm-hmm. And he's bored.
Yeah, Argent has been in a sense defeated and laying low and missing, and he's bored. And so what better treat? He's not even doing it to be evil. He just does it to get off on someone who can give him a hard time.
Yeah, he's looking for a battle. He's as a fencer. He's looking for a valid opponent. He's looking for someone he can do battle with.
Yeah. So he's posed as the Riddler, set up an elaborate giant domino death trap for the Batmobile to get into.
Mm-hmm. And
And
again, the what's it called? The indicia is in with the spread. Like as you can see, like it's all
very
in there.
very design minded.
Right.
Super
And
cool.
definitely be sure to have listened to our previous episode to get all the in-depth information about how this was colored work and the Joe Matt and Matt Wagner beauty.
Yeah. One of the great storytelling systems here opens up once again that we've got two very clear lettering caption treatments for both Grendel and Batman. Although it is kind of, I don't want to say strange, but it's funny that Grendel has a journal caption style and a balloon style as well, with different fonts, because one's handwritten and one's kind of creepy voiced. So that's kind of interesting.
How do you think the Grendel voice matches up to like the Batman voice? Because I don't think the Batman voice is the Christian Bale. What are you doing? I can't breathe out of my nose.
Yeah, I tend to. I don't read that much Batman, and that's something that we should talk about. Like I was thinking about, like, all the really talented people, the Brad Walkers and Jason Fabok and I don't know, John Paul Leon, and like whoever the hell else is at the top of the heap at DC. These people are insanely talented, and like I find it hollow, and I'm not going to read it, and it doesn't interest me, even though they're like some of the most talented people on the planet. It's just like, it's just not for me.
Yeah, see, the Batman that I do like to read, I read the Capullo Snyder stuff, but again, it was like Capullo that brought me there, basically.
Sure.
But there's a lot of these little 4-issue runs of Batman that are really interesting, like Faces, or there's like a Batman Jazz, or there's Gotham by Gaslight. There's all these little self-contained stories. Batman's so versatile that he can be used in all these different ways, and that's what I really like about Batman. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, I loved the animated series growing up, and Batman is probably one of the things I've drawn the longest that I could go back and have all these Batmans. But like, yeah, I dig Batman, but I'm not, it's not on my pull. Though, like Batman White Knight, I was reading because it's again the writer and artist team. Though it's the same guy that writes and draws, I think.
Yeah, and when you ask about the voice, I typically just hear Kevin Conroy's voice. When I think about Batman. Yeah. Legends of the Dark Knight is a great '90s series.
I like
Faces came out of that, and there's always different little minis by. God, there's a really cool and creepy Russ Heath one that I like. There's the Klaus Janson, Grant Morrison one that I've never been able to read. I own it, but I can't read it.
Which one's that?
It's called Gothic. It's like 6 issues.
Oh yeah, I think I've read that.
It's weird. Ted McKeever, like the list goes on and on.
Oh yeah, everyone's had their chance, I feel like. Mm-hmm. But what about the Grendel voice? What do you think that sounds like?
Just like very cold and sterile and creepy.
Yeah. But with he's
a weird guy.
I feel like it's like everything is like he's addressing a room or something like that. He speaks as if he's orating.
He's a gentleman.
Right.
He's a gentleman assassin. Like he bows.
A welcoming committee, all for me.
Yeah.
And without my good shoes. Well, good evening, gentlemen. And exactly what is going to happen. A spin of that staff, and it's just like these GCPDs are
he just
sliced up.
Down.
It'll even julienne fries.
When I looked at a lot of these Gordon panels, they looked so Dave Mazzucchelli to me.
Yeah, and I mean they even kind of shouted him out as a bit of an as what's his wife / colorist
Richmond Lewis.
Richmond Lewis, yeah.
And
the second page, here we go. We see, this kind of like cartoon ball of Grendel just slicing and dicing. It's great.
They're cutting throats 3 at a time.
And
I think
farewell.
I think he kills like 14 people.
Yeah, it seems like it.
So
Oh, man.
so then this sequence cross cuts back and forth to Batman, who is, I had a little bit of a tough time with the sequence. He's trapped. The car is trapped under giant dominoes and rubble.
Right.
And he's trying to use
because they brought the whole warehouse down
Right.
on the Batmobile.
So he's trying to jack up the car and then get it out.
Right.
Trying to make a little space for himself, basically.
Right.
But, you know.
And I guess like he was able, he like dropped out of the car because like he's got all these like trap doors and stuff or something. Or no, he went under the car to like save himself from the falling rubble.
Yeah.
And so we cross cut back, you know, and just he's cutting everyone down until, and this the fourth panel on the third page, you just see the Grendel face kind of like creeping in the background, like my shirt.
Oh, I hadn't even seen it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Super creepy. Well, you know, it's funny. The whole thing goes down in 5 panels. Oh no! Okay, I see. Yeah, yeah. And Gordon is in the dark, and he cuts this guy's.
He's like,
neck, and
dang, Grendel just cuts
cool.
every single person down while Batman again is trying. Really, this is again the second time that Matt's using that. Like we see Gordon's hand kind of 3 times, you know, to show the movement. Just everything's frantic that's happening. This whole issue is like super fast. That's why I do think we can cover it in one episode, because it's like
when Gordon's moving around, you can really feel the fear.
Oh yeah.
Coming out, and when Matt talks about Batman, there's always horror stuff. You know, he's always using the cape to, you know, kind of
the pulpy stuff
and stuff like that. The last time that we saw Matt doing the animation device, I think Tony called it the deputy dog. It was like it was like a cop who was like a face like on the rooftop.
Yeah, and
here the effect is like way different. I love it.
Yeah. And I mean, he sees, you know, he knows he's the commissioner, and he knows that, like, you know, to kill him wouldn't be anything. And obviously you can't kill the commish.
That's true. Yeah. And Gordon knows he's beat.
Yeah. But he's like, maybe we can arrange like some sort of deal. He like drops his gun. And then right as we see that, we see the Batmobile blasting out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Trying to use the rockets.
The screen tone looks really nice and
super cool.
I like the white line where the screen tone and the undercarriage kind of split each other. That one little like highlight that Matt picks up. Super cool.
Yeah, it's great. And again, this is some more great work by Joe Matt here with some of the ink splatters and stuff that's kind of busting.
Oh yeah. Also, the continuity on the carpet pattern is really on point.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's like it's in 6 panels and it's like the same every single time.
I wonder if they had a guide like above them, like Matt or Joe drew the.
Well, that apartment is, you know, when they draw that apartment, it seems fairly on model. It's a big apartment. Anyway, Grendel cuts this last guy's throat.
Right. And then it's not a normal person in Gotham to just be so like willy-nilly or just to be so willy-killy.
Well, he's theatric, but he's killy, you know.
Yeah,
usually at one or the other. I don't know.
Yeah, he's not afraid to slice and dice.
Do you think is there a Batman rogue who captures some Grendelness to you? I mean, he identified with the Riddler.
Yeah, but I think the Joker's the only one that would kill as much without any feeling. Like, I don't feel like the Riddler or Penguin or any of those kind of dudes are much into killing. They're more into revenge against Batman for whatever slight. Yeah,
and the killers are just like, they're not the intellectuals. They're just like, they're brutes.
Right.
I don't know enough about Batman.
I don't know the rogues.
I don't care enough about Batman. So no.
Oh man, well, so
Joe does a great job on this third panel with the airbrush.
Oh yeah, and so Grendel's just like he's not trying to talk to Gordon. He's not trying to figure something out. He just butts him and takes him out, passes him out, And then we find Batman, who finds a new riddle. It was painted under the debris, and only by escaping could he find it. So another like perfectly placed thing by Hunter Rose, and again, something that almost is too smart for the Riddler.
I am more impressed by Matt's screen tone on the car than I am with the plotting of the riddles, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's like the way like the fin on the right is in shadow, the fin on the left has a gradient, and then the centerpiece has that streak. I don't know what you'd call it, but it works so well. So good.
And then we pick back up with Hilly and Rachel, who are getting out of a taxi in front of their house, and they're just like, "Holy shit, what happened?"
Yeah, Rachel.
But then it's also
Rachel coordinated this whole thing. Hilly doesn't know.
Right, but they were just out to dinner too, and they were gonna like kind of tell each other the truth about what's happening, about what Grendel's got over them, but I don't think either of them really got it out.
I really enjoy Hilly's Lil Orphan Annie Harold Gray face.
Yeah. In
the lower left, where the eyes are
just
she looks like Doug Funny. I love it. They're dumbfounded.
Yeah. And so Hilly goes running in, and she's like, "Oh man, I just noticed the blood on they're kind of carrying the officers out in body bags here, and the smear and the smudging on the blood, man, it's like to me it's like, oh shit, is there actually, did I spill something? Like it's that much, like
you can see the dry brush, and then on the bed, oh no, that's a guy in a body bag.
Yeah,
you can sort of see the watercolor kind of drawing with the edges.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I also really enjoy the scribble on Rachel's jacket as Hilly runs towards the police line on 6.
Oh, right. Yeah. Kind of colored there.
Really, really cool. There's some, you can see some rough edges in the ink line. Then we have a 10-panel sequence, one of these sort of half silhouette, flesh in solid black conversation pieces between the three of them. Wonderful rhythms. And this it's so great.
Well, it's here that we find out that this was orchestrated by Rachel and Jim Gordon, and Hilly's like, what the hell? Like, are we safer now, do you think? Like, do you think that this has made it better or worse for us? Because now our beautiful rug has chalk lines of humans all over.
Yeah, that's right. They put chalk all over the rug.
I mean, the rug really ties the room together.
The dynamic of, I'm Rachel King, and I'm a real adult, and I'm responsible, and I'll take care of your life. And you're not mature enough to make decisions like this. And so that's a real social friendship issue dynamic. That's a real thing that goes down. I like it.
Like, I had to do this for us, but I couldn't tell you because you would have blown it or something. You would have ruined it.
Yeah. Or she didn't get a chance to tell her. This last panel where they're livid at each other, but not. Gordon's the only one that gets balloons is really great.
Yeah. Implying that it's just like they're yelling over top of each other. Like, again, we don't even need balloons. We don't even need
the
half
acting
balloons.
does it all. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then their skin tone is more Gordon is paler than they are.
Yeah, there's a little red in there.
Yeah,
that's great.
Very cool.
So then we go up to the roof, and Batman's waiting for Jim there. And he hands him over the riddle and tells him, we're buried under tons of rubble, and those 4 henchmen I thought I saw, they were actors hired.
Now dead, I think.
Yeah.
Isn't there? Yeah. They're not dead. It's, the way that Matt moves the camera around, uses the shadows.
Yeah.
Makes characters look, I don't want to say he makes them look cute when they're in wide, but he really boils down these kind of figures in their coats and all that. And
sure.
Makes them very, very readable in silhouette.
And it's here where Jim says, this is actually a person. I've recognized the mask now. His name is Grendel. He's usually busy in New York. And that's when he's like, I know of him, but not enough. And so Batman's like, time to do a little what I'm best at, the world's greatest detective.
Let's see if we can get anything out of this riddle. I'm playing, it's true, just to have my bad fun. For my good king and queen, soon will tears run. If the battle's not over, the deed is still done. But I swear, Bob's my uncle. Okay.
I can't glean anything from that.
I think that, well, there's a reference to Rachel and Hilly in there. That's
The good queen. And, well,
Yeah.
the Bob's my uncle, too.
the good king and queen. And I think that, you had said in the past, when we'd talked about the Hilly Hunter relationship, we had sort of hinted at, well, does he care? Does he not care? Is he a tool? I don't think he cares.
Yeah, I
At
don't
all.
think so.
He will fall in love later in the shadow,
Oh, that's right.
or he will consider it.
See, I only read it once. I almost don't remember it. I'm looking
It's
forward to that
fantastic.
reread.
It's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to say it's better than it has any right to be.
Yeah.
I only say that because I don't really care about the shadow, like, at all.
I definitely got back into it via Matt. And
Yeah.
also because I found some of the radio serials. I found like a CD set at like a used bookstore a long time ago,
Oh, cool.
or when I was living in Florida. So I started listening to them like I would a podcast, or like, in a little 10, 15 minute chunk I had. And
Yeah,
they're good. I think they hold up.
that's cool.
Yeah, I dig the radio serials. And it got me wanting to make like Monkey Lion radio serials of my comics for the podcast, which I still want to do. But
You should talk to my friend Steele,
Steel.
who's done that.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, cool.
Shout out Steel. I'm going to talk to you. So then we get back, and the first thing we see is they're talking about their 1998 era Fish favorite song, Vultures. Timing is everything that much I know. Sometimes I'm faster and sometimes I'm slow. You know that one?
I think I do. I don't know. You're better at
It's a good
fish
one.
than I am.
That's a good one. No, she's saying vultures waiting for us to die, like talking about, Grendel trying to pick off all this stuff around them. Obviously, they're not talking about 1998 Fish because that song was not written when this book came out.
Two 5-panel sequences on this page.
Yeah.
The first one is
Great
like
segue.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 2 great fivers, and the
Yeah.
first one is like from the top. It's really cool.
It looks like the camera is rotating and tilting a little bit at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not totally sure.
It's like a
anyway,
crane shot.
Yeah. I guess Hilly's going to stay in the house. Rachel's going to continue her work.
Because
And
she
then-
thinks Leonard was killed, the owner of the art gallery. But
Yeah.
but really just Grendel scared him out of town or something, right?
Oh, he's dead.
He is dead, yeah.
He's very dead.
very dead. Okay, I forgot.
And then they, if you're just reading the pictures, the bottom sequence looks like they're on the phone with each other.
Right.
And even when they get out of the house, they're still hawking each other. But they're just having a tough time at work, and the camera gets closer and closer.
Right.
Um,
Really cool, kind of scribble on that last panel that breaks the panel borders.
yeah. The Zappa is strong with this page.
The
With every-
Zappa flow, yeah.
Yeah, I mean with every page, but especially when Matt would play with these little panels. Bernie would do it a lot too in the jam. You just sent me a Wiggins issue of Grendel, I think 16, and it's all 32.
Oh, you did get the
grids.
package. You did get the
I
package.
did. Oh yes, I got the packages.
Oh man, that got there so quick, man.
really fast. I couldn't
Super
believe it.
fast. Yeah, I love that. I love that issue. I have 5 or 6 copies, so I just figured I'd throw you
Yeah.
one. Yeah, and that's the one for the first page of Monkey Lion 3. I copied the first page of.
Yeah, and now I have 2 or 3 copies of it, so that's
Yes.
great. The one I don't have is the one that Chris Pitzer has the cover to with all the knife blades on it.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I
yeah,
have
that
that
one.
And Joe Matt said that he colored one right around there, and he drew himself into a panel,
Huh.
which I didn't find yet, but I'm gonna edit in right here later.
Super cool.
Cool.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so Bruce Wayne is in his cave.
Mm-hmm.
We got some nice color holds on the Grendel 3D graphics.
Mm-hmm. Tony
Kinda
McMillan
cool.
enjoyed those. We're in the Bat Cave, and he's learning. But I really don't think there's much like that. Even the Bat computer can learn or like knows about Grendel.
The one thing I like about the back computer is that you have to climb 3 steps to get up to it.
Yeah.
It's a very fun little design thing. I think everyone loves these bat computers. I also like to think sometimes when you see these like retro future computer displays or whatever, like, you know, whether or not they have a standard keyboard is always very interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because like usually it's just like random buttons that they like
That they just
first of all,
push.
first of all, he's built this computer himself.
Right.
You know? So it's like I can have whatever keyboard I want. You know?
Right. And like what do all of these knobs do? You know, I feel it's more like a board that you would see if you're like directing live TV or something like that. You would have crossfades or things like to
or like an audio engineer's deck, so he can like enhance audio, you know, from scrambled phone calls.
And like some of these like have access to like the Gotham Library microfiche system or something like that. So he's got some knobs to turn microfiche.
So he gets a call from England. And here's Alfred's other scene. He's still laid up, and
he's trying to get he's trying to get info about the riddle. He had sent him the riddle already, and this is where he's like, "Yeah, Bob's your uncle is British slang, and it means as sure as like, or like."
What does as sure as mean? Like, what the? Fuck does that
I think
mean?
I read that it was kind of like a way to end, like be like, and that's the end of that, or like that's my thought, or something like that, or like that's. As sure as
right.
Like as sure as Bob's your uncle, or as sure as Heather's your wife, or something like that. Like
stupid fucking idiom. It's just I don't get it. Anyway, so it's very British, but in this story, apparently it's also Canadian.
Oh right.
That's the other because Hilly.
That's what she had said. She's like, I'm also Canadian.
She went to GCU out of Canada.
Right.
It would seem. All right.
And we come back here to the sky pool at the Gotham Arms Hotel.
Yeah, they give him whatever he wants over here.
Yeah, he's reserved the entire pool deck to himself. He's in his bikini, and it looks like he's drinking maybe like a Bloody Mary. But now it's time to check in on my source, the source code.
My sparkling well. It seems
so he calls up Hilly.
Seems like maybe he does like her.
I mean, she's definitely a cog that he needs.
She's useful.
Yeah.
Do you think he likes Larry?
Do I think he likes Larry?
Do you think Larry is actually his friend?
I think it's the closest thing he's got to anyone.
Yeah.
So yes. So yeah, he's the only person that likes old tobacco lungs, Larry.
Here's another 10-panel little sequence.
Mm-hmm.
The contrasting colors and angles and the acting is great. Hunter barely moves, and Hilly kind of like she's slunched over, sits up, spinning around, and
she gets kind of excited because he asked her out to get some food or something. And he's like, "Yeah, tomorrow night, let's do it, 8-ish."
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Maybe acrylic skyline here, Joe Matt. Very nice.
Mm-hmm. A nice diving Hunter. And,
when Bernie talked about doing his colors on Devil by the Deed, it sounded like he was doing it animation style, like where you have to do it in layers on acetate, right? So these like waves in the pool you'd have to put on first and then the blue behind it. And that was sort of what I was thinking the whole time. And Joe seems to say, no, you just paint whatever you want. Don't drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
Paint it on whatever paper you develop it on. In this case, the Arches watercolor block. Okay.
Yeah, I thought there was some very. I mean, obviously, last week's episode, lots of super great information, but
Yeah.
we really don't have to like guess. There's not a lot of guesswork left for us in
Yeah.
like how is this
There's no
done.
You know what I enjoy is I like the Chuck Jones boing on the diving board.
Oh yeah, it's like
A few very like subtle little motion lines. That's really
Mhm.
cool.
Probably done by Joe.
Mhm.
And this makes Hilly feel so much better. Someone cares about her, and tonight I insisted on walk. Well, they both have these police escorts now because they both are kind of like people of interest, and they're both kind of in danger by this Grendel character who's terrorizing Gotham City. So the
Yeah.
police have been following them, kind of like making them as uneasy.
Who are
And-
her escorts? Are the two guys with the flesh tone?
Yeah, I would guess so.
Okay. I really like Rachel's paranoia. It's
And this is a 4-panel thing too, showing our 4 main characters again, and it's
yeah.
super
And the
interesting.
silence. Yeah.
The way they drew Bruce there far away, and there's just like a little piece of white there on the face.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the cover of like an Ayn Rand novel,
Oh yeah,
where it's like here is man, master of his destiny. Like,
because he's like standing over like Papa.
yeah, standing with his trophies. That's so funny. What are those trophies from? Batman expert.
The dinosaur and the giant penny.
Yeah,
I think
just
they're
like from the 50s.
Yeah, but I think they're things that he kept from like the giant dominoes. They're like from traps or whatever that were set. I wonder. I would like to get a little more information on that because like Batman doesn't seem like a guy who keeps trinkets. Also,
Well,
how did he get them home?
Psychotic fascist Batman doesn't. Batman who smiles and wears underwear over his tights.
Yeah,
He's got all the dinosaurs down there.
Yeah. How did he get him home from the crime scene?
Oh, that's a good question. Matt, when Matt talked about the Sphinx head, he talked about this kind of thing where like sort of the big propness was a touchstone for him. So it's nice that they kind of get a little bit of shine.
Yeah, like he likes that older stuff.
Yeah.
So Rachel's on her way up the stairs to the house. She's just thinking again, and like it's kind of dark in here. The light should have been on. She's opening the door, and in the shadows we can see Grendel. He's waiting. In the darkness binds them. And so he grabs her like before she's even in, and like slams her against like maybe down on the couch or into the wall, and he's like, shh, let's not make this messy, my dear. And then she's like, she retaliates. She's like, you're the one who's behind this. Why what are you holding over Hilly? And then here's where he, breaks it down and tells her about, well, Miss King, I'm holding her daughter hostage. You're next, sweetie. Oh no,
that's the nurse.
Yeah.
That's the nurse talking about.
All right,
Look at the gloves, the holding lines on panel 1 here.
Oh yeah. No holding lines at all.
So this is where Rachel realizes she has a daughter and that their friendship isn't built on as complete a trust as she had thought, even though she previously betrayed it.
Right. Had
a betrayal. And then
we kind of see it playing out, and we get these duotone panels again, the flashback.
And now this is so what happened is that in college, Rachel had an abortion, and Hilly comforted her and said, I've been there. And her cover story, instead of I had the baby, was I also had an abortion.
Right.
So very, very
kidnapping,
sad.
Extortion, murder. You son of a bitch! Where does this all end? And he's like, but wouldn't you like to know? You see, I'm not completely without mercy, Miss King. No, not completely, as he exits through the window. And,
Jesus.
Keep on Grendelin.
Keep on Grendelin. I love the inner turmoil in this bottom tier as all the memories get jumbled up together. Oh, man.
Yeah, when she's saying I had one as well, and it's kind of a lie, but it was like
her way of being there for her.
Yeah. Another 10 paneler here, and we kind of have the mirror of Bruce and Rachel chatting on the phone.
Yeah.
Bruce decides to make a phone call while doing handstand push-ups.
Yeah. Why
Good as time as any.
are you grunting? Oh, I'm getting a massage.
What?
Fucking weirdo.
Can't you take a break for 1 second? Actually, no. Bruce Wayne cannot.
You know, he dates here as a form of self-care, as a way to regulate. It's not because he wants to, it's because he needs to regulate his Batman Grendeling.
Right.
You know?
He needs to have Bruce Wayne be a person, and you know, I think he recognizes that for his own sanity, maybe a little bit of socialization from time to time, not with Alfred or not with a Robin.
Anyway, they get off the phone, they make the date. Hilly jumps in. She's on cloud 9.
Mm-hmm.
And who's on the phone? Yada, yada, yada. Here's business stuff. By the way, here's the information that you are hounding me for.
Yeah. Well, I also think it's really funny how she's like, there's a bulb out, which explains why I'm so moodily chilling in the darkness.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, really, really, really nice stuff. And then, you know, I think that in this is the last tier. It's a single panel. There's this one shadow that almost makes it look like there's a gutter, that it's been chopped up.
Right.
You see it where the door and it, I guess, you know, that big black space helps illustrate the new distance between them.
Right. Exactly.
Quite nice.
Yep. And so they're talking about the Sphinx. It arrives a week from tonight. And Rachel's going back. She's just collecting some stuff. She's like going back to the office. She can't bear the look in her eyes.
Yeah.
So she's like going to be out.
Yeah, there's real distrust. Why is she doing this all of a sudden? Is it a trap again? Wow, roommates and friends who trap each other.
Yeah.
Great. God. Anyway.
And back to the Batcave, back to the Bat Pewter. There's he's just doing his research. Perhaps British references has to do with the fact that the entire Sphinx project is being insured by Lloyd's of London. So he's really trying to like determine like what things mean. Like what is even happening? This is the greatest detective.
All I can do is look at those beautiful squiggle shadows on the polished floor of the cave.
Yeah, they're awesome. Definitely a brush stroke and then some straight lines and those 3 stairs.
Yeah, it's funny. I sort of went back and forth to be like, oh, is this Batcave pewter on model? And it is enough. Doesn't really, it doesn't matter. I would fudge the hell out of it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it moves around. Maybe some screens move around, some cool. Turn. Like, yep. That's what some of the knobs do.
We've talked about this in the past, but the people that build models of their sets,
right,
in 3D. I think the coolest ones. Sean Gordon Murphy did it for like his bat plane. Gerhard did it for like a row of houses in Melmoth. And David Peterson, the mouse guard guy, does like really crazy found like trash sculptures where he'll like make little mouse houses out of chopped up cardboard products and stuff like that. Those are really cool.
That's awesome.
Anyway, more work than I'm willing to do.
Yeah. I'll just base it on a room in my house that I can just look around or something.
Yeah, it's funny, there were a number of homes that I was in, friends' homes, grandparents' homes, my house, blah, 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 that I would constantly sort of set stories that I would, like books that I would visualize. It always took place in an apartment that kind of looked like my friend's house for some reason.
Right. Because you can visualize that. You can see each corner. And it's like it's there.
Anyway.
Next page is more research. Rachel and Bruce are kind of in tandem doing some research about what's going on.
He's on a real keyboard.
Yes, he is. And I think Bruce is in her system, and she's like, someone's like in the system, and it's like, him, and he prints out a bunch of dot matrix information, every detail down to the inch, and that leads into this date.
Yeah, I love his stack. I love the dot matrix stack. It's so
like, if you remember, they used to kind of print like that because it was all one thing. And
I can imagine it's a fun, pulpy retro thing. Only in comics, only in stylized comics, and that's why I was talking about like hollow, hyper realistic, super talent, modern, like big two books. And it's just like, if you do anything, if you're working that style, if you can, I can't, and you do anything like weird or strange, it stands out like a sore thumb. It just looks silly, But if you're stylized, you can express yourself in a much wider range.
Right here.
Of things.
So the date happens, and you see the two ladies. They're kind of differently dressed. Hilly, I think this is the outfit that Tony McMillan was commenting about, the forks and knives. Whereas Rachel is very flapper with a headpiece and furs and stuff.
Joe Matt with the airbrush on this one. Woo!
Oh yeah,
looking good.
And so they both went to the same place, Le Bac Fin.
I can't believe Hunter gives the garçon the maitre d' his stick.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy. I can't
believe it.
That makes no sense.
So to me, it is a total fashion accessory. He's not walking with a fake limp,
Right.
It's just something that he has so that, look, he's got it in 2 panels here, and all he's doing is gesturing with it. He's not at all.
He doesn't fake a limp for sure.
Yeah. This is an interesting restaurant. I like the indoor gardening. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think they're showing the differences between the couples here for sure. Hilly and Hunter are kind of up against each other in a big booth. They're kind of giggling, whereas Bruce and Rachel are sitting opposite sides of a table. They have this kind of like private room.
Oh, that's right. With stuffed pheasants on the mantle. So there's a part of me that wants to say that Hunter actually likes her.
I would agree.
He doesn't have to cozy up to her this much.
Right.
Or maybe he just enjoys being he can charm the pants off anyone.
Like it's all part of the game to him.
If he didn't like it, he'd string her along and go out and Grendel.
Right.
I think there's a part of him that actually enjoys her a little bit for whatever reason.
I agree.
Cool.
So they have their dinners. They both are eating. Rachel decides to have the duck à l'orange. And they're leaving, and they're like, oh, wow, look who we have here. Our 4 main characters, Hilly, Rachel, Wayne, Rose. We've met. And Rachel's kind of like, you wore it. How could you? Like, and no signs of the previous kind of like strain on their relationship. They're just kind of like happy to see each other out in public, I guess.
Well, it's very funny because these are, the 2 5-sequence tiers up top. Again, further that, I know that you were talking about that just a moment ago, but again, furthers the contrast of the intimacy. Hilly and Hunter, every panel is a 2-shot. And it's got kind of that, the silhouettes have almost a Frank Miller vibe in a few spaces with the hair.
Like the lips too, yeah.
Yeah, the lips and the hair.
And this is where
the other date is like so fucking sterile.
Yeah.
He doesn't smile.
Yeah, at all.
He sucks.
But this is where there's some clues that are dropped here too. They're kind of Hilly's kind of talking about Lloyd's, where it's coming from, and take a full page out in the Times or whatever. But then also Rachel says, "Oh, Bob's your uncle," and then Bruce is kind of like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 I didn't know you were British. She's like, I'm not. My roommate's from Toronto. Here's where we're talking about. So that also kind of links to Matt, who used to live in Toronto too.
Yeah.
So maybe he like knew that.
And then Bruce is, yes, of course, it would be Canadian too. He's such a putz. Like, just shut up.
Little know-it-all. But
Excellent. Yeah, the only time, he's smiling off panel in the last. Excellent choice. That's the only enthusiasm. There's two moments of enthusiasm. One is when she picks the right entree, and then when he sees Hunter Rose, he smiles a little bit.
Yes. Well, Hunter is like, ah.
Yeah. Well, they had a great time.
Mm-hmm. And but the men both sent the ladies home without a nightcap or anything. But then Rachel finds that somehow Grendel snuck a note into her pocket. When do you think that happened?
I think that so I think that Bruce had a reservation to this restaurant prior to Hunter making the date. He's a sneaky Hunter Rose. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he had a guy.
This panel, he puts it in.
Or I was even thinking that he had someone on his, in his network who worked at this place and slipped it in the coat room or something like that.
This putting a note in someone's pocket, I can't place it, but I feel like I was reading some other Matt Wagner story last week, and the same. I was reading some other story, and the same device was used where someone. Or maybe it happens twice here. I don't know.
And then
so she figured Rachel's convinced that Bruce is Grendel.
Right, which is a classic crossover. Okay, so next page we go to the airport where Larry arrived from Lloyd's with everything we need. Of course, old Larry Bear has it. He's always got it.
Extra sleazy Larry.
Mm-hmm. This third panel of him with his nose up, man, he looks so slimy.
He also looks about 15 years older than Hunter, which I feel like in the Devil by the Deed especially, and in Volume 1, they sort of appear to be contemporaries.
Right.
I
always figured that Larry was like a little bit older, and that was maybe something that Hunter could use, like he was a little more established. But.
Oh, right. Oh, well, he might have a different type of access. Because Hunter probably puts people off a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Like they, anyone that's not, there's some people that are like really hot or cool, where it's like, people either fall in love with them or despise them. Yeah. Or people that are like so magnetic that you just can't trust them.
Yeah, that's like you can't trust anything they say because you're like, is this like just your mystique?
Yeah, or like they're hyper charismatic and their lives are so storied and they've done all these different things and it sort of verges on the pathological.
Yeah.
And I met people like this, when I was young, and I was like, I didn't have any experience in life when I was 17 to 25. I'd sat at my desk and I'd read comics and I'd made art, and I'm glad that I did that. But I would talk to these people who, I remember there was one guy that I knew, we were teenagers, and he was like an adult. And I was like, the fuck is your deal? Like, are you a real person?
So Larry's trying to get comfortable, and Hunter's like, no, don't get comfortable. You're going right back to New York. Your flight leaves in an hour. Thank you for the information.
In DC canon, is Gotham like?
I thought it was
in
East
Delaware.
Coast. I don't.
It's like
I thought it was near New York. I thought
it's
it
like
was
not a far flight.
No, I wouldn't think Gotham is far from New York.
And then Metropolis is Chicago.
I think so.
I think.
Yeah. And
then in the Snyderverse, they're across the river from each other.
Really?
I think so. Yeah.
I think like Central City and Star City are like West Coast.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think one of that's Green Lantern and Flash.
Yeah, Star City is Green Arrow too. Starling City.
I don't. I think it's silly.
I know that
it's
mostly
silly,
from
and I like it. You know, I like it, but I don't. I like the idea of the like DCU like 1982 style guide. I like those characters in my imagination. I like Batman smiling, but I don't want to read any of the fucking stories. I just want to look at the pictures.
Yeah, and go.
I'm a prick. Anyway.
All right, yeah. So then we see now Rachel. She's in her office at the art studio. She gets a call and says, "Nope, there's a delivery from a P. Saffron." And she's like, "All right, bring it in." So then it's these really weird statues that she doesn't really like. They're kind of these like big fighting, and there's 4 of them. Toil. Oh no, there's 3 of them. Toil, sacrifice, and aggression. Things full of hatred and pain.
Are these? Do you think Hunter made these statues?
Kind of do, because we find out later of their use. But I kind of do think that Hunter made them. He can do it. He can do anything.
You think P. Saffron is supposed to be like some kind of weird anagram or?
Yeah, I was thinking that must mean something. Yeah, like is it a literary name?
Yeah.
So
too late now.
Yep. Then Grendel comes in from the shadows. This proves to me that even Matt has a hard time making each eye look the same, because I know I can never do it when I draw Grendel.
Yeah.
And then you have performed most admirably, Miss King. Your loyalty is quite inspiring. So, Grendel's kind of been pulling the strings on old Rachel here for a little bit. And you will receive further instructions tomorrow. And he's like, now be gone. And it's kind of like, bitch, you're in my office. All right? You be gone.
It is such an enormous facility. It is
true.
It's a gallery and offices and loading dock.
Warehouse.
And I think that there's like another, we'll see. There's all kinds of, there's like natural science museum stuff. It's
right.
endless.
Later on. Yeah.
Oh, it's actually right here.
Yep.
Right,
and so Grendel, good.
Yeah, that's it. Grendel and his weird statues.
Yeah, and he's starting to kind of pull pieces off of these things. Like for an upcoming performance, he turns some knobs and some stuff comes out of these things, and they kind of turn into these laser guns. There's like laser.
Is that what's happening?
Yeah, because that's how he pulls off his like stunt from later.
The only thing I noticed is that not the only thing. The one thing I noticed the most was the color holds on the boots and gloves, and that there is a holding line on the soles of his shoes when he jumps away. I thought,
but that's it. Yeah,
that's so classy. I love it.
In the 4th panel too, you see just a little bit on the bottom, and this brings us to just an amazing fight and an amazing, like, if I thought before like there wasn't a lot of detail maybe at the beginning of this comic, it was because like Matt's like holding all the detail for this final fight here. That's like you said in a natural history museum where, we see this panel here with Grendel, and there's some zebra, and there's like a whale's skeleton, and there's, I didn't even see in the window here. You can see the outline of the cape.
Yeah.
Batman's kind of, doing that gliding thing he does. Super silent, gliding over top, descending right onto Hunter, right onto Grendel, and they both tumble. Man, this is dynamic as shit.
Yeah, and then with the birds in that second to last, right. The birds really add to
kind of obscuring the attack. And then here we have, god damn, this most beautiful spread of all.
So when I see this, I find the birds, the 600 birds, a little strange.
Like the whole background, how it's all birds. It's like they're in an aviary or something.
Okay, so if you look, it looks like there's multiple levels. Like there's a railing.
Yeah, exactly. At least 2 levels.
Oh yeah, right. You can,
and you can see a previous page. There's like looks like 3 levels.
This is a hell of a thing. Yeah. And then the vulture in between them is so creepy and weird. And
I love Batman's teeth too. It's that very kind of like animated Batman animated series.
Yep.
And the detail on the utility belt too. I mean, it looks
Yeah.
like he's got it looks like he's got like additional stuff to use there. It's like kind of like some
Yeah.
bags.
It's like it's a mix between the animated series and Dave Mazzucchelli in a
sure.
really interesting way.
Yeah.
And then I love, so I think with the airbrush on the thigh,
Oh yeah.
There's sometimes when the airbrush really picks up the tooth of the watercolor. And if I didn't get that, I have a few cool airbrush pieces. I didn't get that advanced with it because it was such a fucking pain in the ass to maintain.
Bad man.
But if you angle, the way that you angle the tool affects the way that it kind of splays out onto the paper.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's not just that you want to be like, if you're far away, you'll get a spread. But if you kind of hold it at an angle, you can kind of like cover it in kind of a cool way like that and pick up some of that tooth.
It really textured on there. It looks
Airbrushing
awesome.
Ben, yeah. Anyway, it's a pain in the ass. Don't. And we have computers, so why bother?
Yeah, you can just do it. But amazing spread there. The battle continues. Like, and we're kind of getting these comments as they're like running through the chest cavity of this whale. Yeah.
Oh wait, but why so many birds? Like, why 600 crows?
Don't know, man. The guy who runs this place loves birds, and
they're all carrion birds. There's a vulture, and then, I mean, maybe they're not all crows. Anyway, he loves birds. It's an aviary.
He loves it. Yeah.
All right, we'll get into the grid.
He's running. So they're running through this thing. This is the spread that Joe and Matt were talking about. A little bit, the circle on Batman's head here. Some of the detail in this. He's lightning fast, and he's about Dick's size. So that's the only reference we have to a Robin type of action.
Right. So this is probably, it's Matt's first Batman book, but it's the latest in Batman's career of all of his.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
work.
Which is interesting. Just a lot of cool stuff though. He's like, he knew all the supports would hamper my cape. So like, that's what he's thinking is why Grendel brought him into this skeleton. But then again, still his own disguise is self-indulgent. I'm not exactly sure how his things got wrapped around there, but
Well, that's another thing where because it's cartoony, it's believable.
Right.
If Ivan Rice tries to do this gag, it's not going to work at all.
Right. Yeah.
Also, the Zappa rhythms on panels 6 and 7, chef's kiss.
Yes.
Love it.
So Grendel has to cut off some of his stuff, although more easily sacrificed than his own cape. They're fighting, and they're just kind of, hiding and running around until Grendel kind of disappears. He kind of jumps out.
Yeah. I love his into the belly of the whale comment as they go in. It's just like, it's so literary. Like, it's fun and pulpy, and it's not cheesy, but if it is, it's in a good way.
Right. Well, Grendel really has an eye for like the theatrics and the poetic, and he's always,
especially in the story.
For sure. And this final panel of Batman, he's kind of got that like thing, like the logo that, some of the stuff Matt's been showing his process photos on his Facebook is kind of like, this is kind of that like, hiding with the
on 29 panel 4.
4.
Yeah, this is a totally. I mean, this looks like a panel out of a Frank Miller book. Yeah. Again, like we talked about Mazzucchelli so many times.
It definitely looks like year one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're back into Hilly's room, another panel we spoke with Matt about and Joe with the Bowie poster. And she's like, I've got a confession. I know about your daughter. Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, just like hits you with it.
Right.
Super cool.
They have kind of a heart-to-heart here, and they kind of put it all on the table. And like, Hilly kind of is like, I am like so scared. I'm like, her fear is paralyzing. And like, so while they kind of come together, they're still like, I'm scared as shit. This is getting crazy. and then we're back to work immediately, where Gordon's just doing like a normal security sweep, and like Wayne Tech is funding this, so I'm sure they can afford this like extra time or whatever, and in case any of the damages get, or any of the sculptures get damaged. So it's just kind of that thing, and so she's kind of nervous because it's like, I'm doing this for Grendel. You know, I don't want to be found out. My nerves are already shot because I'm doing illegal shit, which I don't want to be doing. And now Gordon's snooping around.
Yeah.
And then we're back at Wayne Manor.
Welcome back, Alfred.
Mm-hmm. Welcome back, Alf.
This is a cool Wayne Manor. Really, it's quite stately.
Mm-hmm. And they're just kind of talking about, you know, what's been going on, talking about the ladies and what happens here.
I don't know. You know,
well, yeah,
stuff.
some about motherhood, and
yeah.
They find that that's kind of like the main thing.
Oh, I think Alfred did some recon on them.
On the two ladies, yeah.
I guess so.
Teen runaway, unwed mother, studied creative writing, and is now an editor. Miss King is an honor student, major in business, minor in art, volunteer Gotham Women's Clinic, and has managed the gallery for motherhood. What's that?
That's Bruce realizing that's the that's
motherhood.
the thing that comes together. So that's sort of the you know, that's the drawback of these conversation panels. You know, maybe a bullet point would
be a little
would help that. But you know, Bruce looks right into the camera as he says it. Anyway, and then this is they open the clock to get into the cave.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. I really enjoy the minimalism on the light and shadows and details on these faces.
Yeah, again, like
it's really fun.
Getting a lot across with the least amount of detail, and it works perfectly.
Yeah. It's you know, so many other artists would just try to cram every facial detail and line into you know, these 20 tiny faces, and you just don't need to.
You don't need to, and maybe even belabor trying to make them all look the same or similar. But again, that's not.
Yeah.
Doesn't waste time with that either. He knows we know who it is. It's Bruce Wayne. Yeah.
My favorite ones. There's a few of them. It's in panels 1 and 2, mostly, where it's just a slash of shadow.
Right.
It's like across the eyes, and that's it.
Like
that's
a thick line. Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
It's very matte. It's a very matte thing. Like I even found with those old comics from the
Breeze.
The Breeze. Yeah. They call me the Breeze. Where it's just the heavy, you know, eyebrow and then the totally dark eye, which was in the original Grendel stuff and some Old Mage as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So next,
rain comes down, baby.
Mm-hmm. And Rachel's meeting with an investor,
he's a frequent client. He's a high rolling art collector,
right? Who wants to see the new stuff, and she's got to take him. But but it looks like also the Sphinx is here.
Yeah,
the Sphinx is arriving, and she's stuck at dinner with this guy. He's like, you know, lazy and burping, and you know, Batman is making his way. While Rachel's making her way into the taxi, the Sphinx is arriving.
And so Gordon and the cops are watching that.
The Sphinx arrive, yeah.
Panel 3 brought to you by our friend, Dr. Mazzucchelli. Like, that is a guest artist panel. Unbelievable. It's
the one where he's lighting his cigar.
Yeah, and then the one where Batman's in the rain. Like, if you gave me a bunch of these panels and said, is this Wagner or Mazzucchelli? I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't mean that to disparage anybody. It's just
of course not.
You know, super cool.
Right. And then so she brings this collector to the gallery, and, you know, this is her place. Of course she can give him a tour, and Gordon's like, hell no, we got police stuff going on. She's like, there's no reason. This is my place, Gordo.
Yeah. I think this is the first time where a balloon gets chopped off like that.
Right.
I think it's a wonderful device. I'd like to see more of it.
Right.
Because sometimes you just need to say something's being said and this is the gist of it, and it doesn't matter.
Right. You
really
get the gist of it, and and we're moving on. Like there's so much happening. Like it just keep going because Batman's about to startle Hilly. You know.
Yeah, and that's the kind of like comics mechanics approach that like never or rarely will get breached in corporate comics. Because it's like, this is how we do things, this is how the stories get told, and like being innovative isn't on the menu.
No,
but
we don't want to lose.
Is the thing that
we don't want to lose John
most.
Q. Reader. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Me too. Yeah,
like that's the thing that makes this art form exciting, is that you can give me something I've never seen before, or challenge my imagination to bring it to life, or
Absolutely.
say your imagination is good enough to bring this to life.
Yeah.
So the experience should be collaborative instead of just like spoon feeding me the same thing over, for 3 fucking decades. Like,
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
can't.
We can
It astounds me that people want that.
Yeah. All right. So now Batman busts in on Hilly, and he's like, I know everything. I know about your daughter. I know about what's Grendel's holding over top of you, and like, let's get together. And then we're back with Jim. He's like, let's just let her do it. And Hilly's like, we're flashing back and forth between Hilly and Rachel, and Batman's like, please, Hillary, come on. Like, she's like, I didn't do anything. I'm just scared. And he's like, you're too late. It's all already happening. Because then we see Rachel have this little poison thing, or like a little something to knock him out. She pokes this investor in the neck, and then she's running, and she's like, oh my God, CPR. And there's this whole thing going on that we didn't even know was planned or anything.
Yeah, she gets the guy out of the way,
mm-hmm.
and then she does the Grendel laser plan.
Right. And this is where I'm saying the lasers were hidden in these statues, and she pulls them out, and she's talking to Commissioner, and then here in this panel, she looks like the woman Commissioner from Dark Knight Returns. I was thinking
Yendel. Ellen Yindel, I think her name is. Yeah, the way that the shadow gets the airbrush, it's like so 80s.
Yeah.
Really,
like
really,
one of those
really
fashion posters or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Oh man.
Yeah, and then so it's still building. Like Batman jumps in. He's like, Jim, and he's like, yeah, I wish he wouldn't. He's like, call the research team. We've got to open the head now. And so like something's happening, and Batman's like, are you sure of this? And that's when they open the Sphinx and they see that Grendel has carved lines through the eyes.
It's a great page turn reveal.
Yeah.
If
it's his mask, his own goddamn face. Man.
So did he shoot out the nose as well?
No, the Sphinx doesn't have a nose, does it?
Oh, that's right.
The nose,
yeah. Dummy. You'll edit that part out, of course.
All right. Someone stole it or something. Isn't that what happened? They believed that there was like
I don't know,
power in the nose, and that's why a lot of those old statues had the noses broken off.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, Tony had compared this to Chairface Chippendale writing his name on the moon.
Oh, right, yeah.
In the Tick. I think that's very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just wants to cause trouble.
Yeah.
If he can make it more of a nuisance of himself, that will put more heat on him. That will make it all the more challenging for him.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't this come into play in the Prime story too? The Grendel Prime story?
I haven't read it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That story does open up in a museum.
Right.
Right, because
he
the
travels
skull
back
is on
in time.
display.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah, I need to get
story. That story is a pulpy ass kicker. I mean, all the Grendel Prime stories are like,
Batman gets beat up.
This happens. This guy gets his ass kicked. Here's a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Shotgun. Fight sequence.
Yeah.
Where this one is all like these like crazy cross-cutting rhythms, and that one is just like a thrill ride.
Yeah, that Batman Grendel. I mean, that's like years away for us. That's like 2 years away.
Years away. That's right. That's right.
So now we're back with the ladies, and they're like, it's done. I thought it was over. And she's like, what's wrong? And it's like, we're busted, Ray. Batman knows everything. And, then the cops show up at their apartment. And they're like, don't you think it's time we leveled with one another? My men can wait outside. And so Gordon's really trying to get the straight dope. And then after that, he meets with Batman, and like they're supposed to retrieve the girl in an hour. And then, you know, they're trying to use them as bait for Grendel.
Yeah. Here's Batman's mercy. They've been through enough. They never asked for any of this. Like, I'm Batman. I'll deal with this guy. Grendel said, I'm not without mercy, but all he does is use people
Right.
like a
As
bastard.
pawns.
You know, and so here's, you know, Batman has kind of a friendly side. Anyway.
Right. And so now there's going to be a handoff with Grendel and the daughter and Hilly, and they're on the top of this building, and they're on the observation deck, and they're like waiting. They're kind of looking around for Grendel.
Yeah. I love this climbing panel on 38 with the
Yeah.
captions and the clouds and the atmosphere and everything.
Beautiful.
Was super
The
cool.
cross hatching in the clouds. Really cool. So
Parallel lines inside of Hilly's jacket are a lot of fun for me.
oh yeah. And so Hilly's like, hello, anybody? And Grendel's like, not so loud, I can hear you.
Yeah.
We both hear you. And here's this little girl who's none the wiser.
Yeah. So the girl has to be like 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I would think.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Enough time to have been out of school. Like,
she had her when she was 16. They went through college. She had her when she was 16. They went to college.
right.
And now they're a few years out. So it's, you know, it's one of those things where the child has to be drawn smaller for dramatic purposes.
Right. But still.
But this is all a bluff. He's never going to kill children.
No,
We know that. We know that like the back of our hands.
Mm-hmm.
So
and she's like, don't be scared. Like, come to me. And like, she's like thinking like, she's so beautiful. And you know, what's your name, little girl? And she's like, Clarissa. Yeah. And then
look at
Grendel,
that big gutter in that middle panel.
Right. Well, why do you think they do that? Why do you think they do that? To kind of draw your eye in.
Yeah, it focuses you in. It kind of puts you more in the headspace. I'm gonna give you a little tangent here. I've been listening to Ulysses on YouTube audiobook, and of course I'm a dummy, so I have to. It's James Joyce, so I have to, before I listen to the chapter, I have to watch a 20-minute analysis by someone who tells me what I'm supposed to be looking for.
Right.
And the audiobook edition that I found is very dramatized with a full cast. So it's really easy, and everyone's acting, and there's a lot of dialogue. So it's really easy to kind of hear it like a radio play, but there's a lot of things where the main character will have internal monologue. And when they do that, they put like he slows down, and they put an echo on it, so they dampen it. So you can tell that it's in his head. And every time I hear it, all I can think of is Kyle MacLachlan's internal monologue in Dune. It sounds like exactly the same, and I'm just
like a little echoey.
Yeah, but so to me, this kind of has a very similar effect where it's it kind of really like racks focus and like pulls in. And
I gotcha.
Anyway.
Rack focus,
anyway,
I think, is a good.
I'm listening to Ulysses.
Oh my
no
God.
big deal.
You are very, very.
I don't understand it at all. I don't get it. I don't get any of it.
So Grendel's like, he's throwing a fork in the works, if you will.
Yeah, sure.
Changing the plans, mother for daughter now, and no deals. And Rachel's like, how fitting. And they're, you know, this bastard's.
Wait, he just blew up her spot.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, the kid doesn't get. She's scared shitless. She doesn't get it.
Yeah. And so the kid's kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Joe Matt's beautiful lighting on the two women here.
On the nose and the eyeballs of the kid.
Oh yeah. The big eyes, like And
cool.
All right. And so Hilly, we've got a 10 paneler here again, and Hilly's kind of like, Clarissa, like, I know you're scared, but listen to me. Like, you got to come here. I'm just your mama. See, my mama. Wait, what?
No, she's not. The kid doesn't get it. The kid thinks she has another mother. This is just some nice redheaded woman who wants to help her.
Right. And she's just like, it's okay. Like, come.
Yeah. I really enjoy the fingernail silhouettes in panel 5. Where
Yeah.
she's doing
she's holding
this,
it.
but
Yeah,
it's in
that's
shadow.
right.
Really cool.
That's very well done.
Really cool.
And then they're like, okay, I got a deal. Grendel's waiting. Stay here, honey. And that's it. No further until you let her go. I mean it very well.
He calls her honey.
Yeah. Yeah. He calls a little girl honey.
What a nice guy.
Oh, man. And so here comes Batman on the Batwing, kind of scrolling in.
Does he use this in Faces? Does he have a hang glider?
I can't remember.
Another story. We'll show you in the edit. Don't worry. Either shine or nish.
Nish. And so Batman comes in and they start battling it out. You know, Grendel slices his side. I mean, really cuts him open. You can see it. And the little girl's like, "Oh my God!" Like, and says they're just battling. It was like, "Clarissa, don't move!" And like they're arguing and they're rolling around. And Grendel grabs the girl and starts running away. Very similar to the panel where he has Stacy under his arm in Devil by the Deed.
Yeah, this is the figure perspective is really, really cool. His shoulders and neck and head are kind of foreshortened in a sense.
Yeah. Grendel cut Batman like super deep, so he needs some styptic gel. He's gonna put it in his wound to kind of seal it up.
Styptic.
And so he's like, "Are you ladies injured?" He's like, "We're fine, thanks." Like, go get him. And so he fires batarang, or he fires the grappling hook, and he kind of goes up towards where Grendel is. Grendel puts the little girl up on a ledge,
and he kisses her.
Right.
So weird.
He's trying.
Anyway,
He's trying.
Rachel pulls out her little snub nose. It looks like.
Mm-hmm. She's always had it for protection.
Yeah, makes sense.
But then Hilly runs toward her. He's like, "No, you're just like the rest of them." She like gets all pissed that she has a gun. And while Batman's climbing up, like the towers are mountainous and like there's plenty of areas to hide. He's like, the attention to detail of him. He's still grabbing his side. He's still like super hurt. You know.
No body armor.
No. It's
just like one expertly placed cut, and he's,
he's hurt.
He's almost not out of commission, but he's hobbled quite a bit.
He's hurt. Yeah. So it's unfortunate about Miss King, and he says he's not Superman. She succumbed to the blackmail, and then we see Hilly up on the ledge. She like kind of lunges towards Clarissa, but then Grendel's like right around the corner. Man, Batman comes down, Hilly, and then Rachel yells Bruce at Grendel, and he ducks, and she shoots and hits Hilly in the arm.
Can I ask you a question about? The Zappa is great on this page.
Yeah.
Again, I thought it was the same. Is the fourth panel like the only time? Oh no, it's not. The fourth panel is one of few times where all four characters are in panel. The date is another one.
Yes. Yeah.
That might be the only times in the whole book.
Which panel are you talking about here?
I'm talking about the panel where Grendel's gonna poke Rachel in the tush with
okay.
And Batman comes down, and
I forgot that was
Rachel's
like
got
that was her.
The gun at him and all that stuff.
And the next page is a flurry of action. Mm-hmm. It's 5 by 6, so it's like
30 asterisk.
30, yeah.
33.
Yeah. And it happens. They're fighting, and the little girl is kind of like knocked off, and then Batman's like, "All right, you." Oh my God! And he rips off his mask.
I know that the Madman. I want to talk about this grid more.
Oh yeah.
I know that the Mike Allred fan in you really enjoys some of this figure work.
Oh my God, it's great.
My favorite one is the last two on the third row, where he vaults up, and then he kicks him in the face. Yeah,
because like Batman grabs his fork, and then he kind of like does his flip around his fork.
Yeah.
Oh my God! And then Batman throws a smoke bomb and doesn't do anything. Grendel doesn't move. It seems like they're both just still there, like. Oh.
Yeah, and then middle overlap panel. Clarissa is crouching, and then she loses balance as the panel tips over.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool. All right.
Just
Good.
amazing. Yeah. And then Batman says, let's see who you are beneath. And Hunter's got like, face paint on, like Grendel Masque face paint. Which I think,
Yeah. I spent a lot of time thinking about this.
Yeah. I think that Mike Allred submitted pages for Grendel that had a very similar thing in it. And I'm not sure if maybe he got it off that or something, or what were you thinking?
I think there's a lot of different ideas baked into this. One is a reflection of Batman's outfit striking terror. This is scary.
Yeah.
Right? And it's totally surprising, A. B, the way that Hunter behaves is completely unhinged. Like, Hunter, this is not Hunter Rose type, like behavior.
Right, yeah.
So it's almost a reflection of, like, Hunter, it's like his initiation into the Rogues Gallery.
I see.
In a sense.
Going
and then the
crazy.
third thought that I had was that Hunter prepared this because he knew that Batman was going to best him. He knew that his mask was probably going to come off, and it wasn't going to come off because Hunter took it off,
Right.
that Batman was going to get it off. And so as a practical measure, knowing that he was going to be beat in some way, presumably, that he painted his face. In the two clearest panels, the first one is that big, crazy, bug-eyed reveal.
Right.
And then there's the one where he looks scared.
Right, where they hear the girl falling right after he kind of like burns Batman's glove off.
Yeah, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and then you see his hand like smoking.
Where does his arm get broken? Doesn't that happen here? Doesn't Hunter break his arm?
Yeah, right there, because he's saying he clutches his broken wing. I think it's in the battle, like on the previous page.
It's in the first panel of the third row.
Oh yeah.
He breaks his arm, and then you can sort of see there's a number of different postures.
Right.
Whoa!
And then,
it just started raining like crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah, great.
And then like we said, you see the broken arm in Devil by the Deed. Like you see him have.
That's the Tim Sale story.
Oh, in Black, White, and Red.
It might be a few times.
Yeah.
It's in Devil by the Deed. He has a broken arm.
Thought so, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well,
we'll put it up on the screen.
There's one panel in the Tim Sale lawyer story where he's like, it's an upshot, it's a low angle shot of him like standing on a bookcase, and he's just randomly wrapped up. Anyway.
Batman jumps to save the little girl who had fallen, Clarissa, and he swoops her up, and then that's kind of gives Hunter a chance to kind of escape, and they both kind of go their separate ways. But what happened in the melee is that Rachel got shot. See, we missed that as well.
Yeah. Really nice lettering, coloring combo when she says, Hilly. Oh, no. Rachel gets shot. No. Hilly gets shot, and Rachel gets forked.
Oh.
They're all fucked up over here.
Oh yeah. Hilly on the page 44, she gets forked to the stomach.
Let's read this Hunter commentary, because I'm just so much more interested in Hunter than I am in Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
Okay, so he's talking about Batman. Oh, what a tiger. He broke my arm, unmasked me, to no avail, mind you, thanks to my special war paint, right. Which is very it's funny because this is going to be echoed many times over in the future, the war paint, the devil's eyes and all that stuff with the clans and stuff like that. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, I came to Gotham for a game, not the death of children. That's his rule. Still, I could only clutch my broken wing and watch as the tiger righted my wrong, or in this case, my mistake. So it's this admission. There's been a few times where Grendel's log has sort of it had the self-awareness to know that he is not without fail. So this is one time, and then the other one is where he chastises himself for being behind schedule on writing the book.
Right, yeah.
So that humanizing element of Hunter is super rare. You know, he is after all but a man, not you know, he doesn't have an all-powerful demonic genie, 10,000 years of, you know, omnipotence inside of him. He's just a guy. Yeah. And Batman, like Batman, except Batman is ultimately more skilled than he is.
Yeah.
And he admires Batman. You know, the wolf is a challenge that he has dispatched, but this tiger, he is the one who can resolve his legitimate mistake, putting the kid in danger. And then we've got this inset panel of a Grendel grappling line, which we've seen the line before in Jason Pearson's Black, White, and Red story.
Right, in the Central Park.
But it was like a bolo. I don't think it wasn't used to swing.
But here it kind of shows that it is.
It's a batarang, so.
It's awesome. So he swings away. And then Batman's like, you know, I probably could have caught him, but I broke his arm. And, you know, I could never abandon a child. So then Batman kind of saves the kid, and we see Hilly and Rachel's sobbing goodbye.
Yeah.
And
they both have connection to kids in trauma.
Yeah.
That's my Batman knowledge for you. Did you know? Did you know Batman's an orphan?
I didn't know. Yeah, that's one thing I do know. And then so we kind of see the post-mortem here. Batman's back.
He also calls her honey. He says, "It's okay, honey."
Yeah.
It's the same thing same sentiment that Grendel said to her. Sorry to interrupt you.
No worries. And so Batman's back home in his robe, sitting in front of the fire while the bat signal arises. And then we see Hunter returning home, and his Stacy finds him with Larry.
I love this like Naruto run pose that Stacy's in.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen it in a number of different comics where a kid elated runs forward with their arms kind of spread out. It's so familiar. I can't quite place it.
And it's just another thing where Bruce is like, there's all monsters. The city has its own monsters after all, you know, and then Hunter's trying to explain to Stacy how he's got a broken arm. He was chasing after some bats. And then we see that Hilly Farrington has a new book out, A Mother's Story, with an introduction by Dr. Leslie Tompkins, who is a Batman character. Yeah, she was like friends with Bruce as a child and kind of helped him grow. She's portrayed by Marina Baccarin on the TV show Gotham. And so that's a fairly big Batman character.
Good call. Good callback. Yeah. She's not in Masque of the Phantasm, right? She's not that character.
I don't know. Oh, I do know that she was in the cartoon portrayed by Diana Muldaur, who you might know as Dr. Pulaski from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I don't.
She sucked. She's the worst Doctor. She called Data.
Oh, it's terrible.
And then we get the final page again. The inside back cover is a city spread, and it's Grendel.
Yeah.
Face. He had my face. After all, he held my very face in his hands. My face, his face, and we get a cool Batman Grendel.
What do you make of that? That he saw them as
right?
The same?
Yeah, right. Because I don't.
How much did Grendel uncover about Batman?
Right, because I don't think he figured out that he was Bruce Wayne. I don't know though.
Who's to say?
Yeah, but I do know that for sure he saw that just as the Grendel face is his face, the Batman face is his face. You know? Like if Hunter unmasked him, Batman, then he would have also held his face in his hand. So it's like
Yeah.
he saw that much that, you know, the mask is the person.
Yeah. Well, let's read the rest of it. And so where I had sought conflict, I found only defeat. Where I sought antithesis, I found only a mirror. Perhaps it is just to put this behind me
Best.
and to strike it from my memory, my life, and my logs.
Right, and that's kind of why, you
That's
know,
like a meta commentary.
right, like why Batman's not in Black, right, or why Batman's not in Devil by the Deed, or why, like,
I find I much prefer wolves to tigers. Tigers are too sleek, too ferocious, and too much like me. So there's a limit to what he can handle.
right.
I also want to note that the end paper's cityscape in both issues are palindromes. So this back end paper is the opening end paper to the first issue. And the domino end paper in the beginning of the second issue is the end paper that the first issue ends with.
That's very cool.
Literally flipped horizontally. So it's quite palindromatic.
Palindromatic.
Yes, that old word.
Awesome.
Man, so great.
Yeah, so what did you think of it? What did you think of it as a whole, man? Like, did you dig it?
I really liked it. I think it's I kind of wish there was more. I wish there was more character stuff with Hunter, because I always wish there's more character with Hunter.
Yeah.
Like he's like the enigma. It doesn't matter if it's this or Black, White, and Red or Devil by the Deed or the other ones. I'm always left wanting to understand Hunter a little bit more. And I really loved that we were saying, well, like maybe there is a part of him that has a feeling for Hilly.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah, and we never again really see Hunter or Grendel facing anyone that's even close to his own, that's like up to his mental acuity, you know?
Well, Grendel doesn't live in a shared universe. He encompasses that universe. It's his domain. The only thing that comes close are legions of vampires and an immortal werewolf. But there aren't other...
there's no other heroes.
It's not like Kevin Matchstick is running around in that world.
Right.
He never will.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, Matt has said that they would never, ever cross over.
Yeah.
And he said he never would even draw them together, though I uncovered a convention sketch from the 80s where he drew them.
I would put this... It's hard to say. It's, you know... I don't want to say I like it more than Black, White, and Red, but it's 120 pages or some such.
Right.
So it's the second longest Hunter Rose story in canon, which is interesting. The storytelling, like the rhythmic storytelling layouts, are probably some of the most like unrelenting Rhythm Devil Grendel layouts in the entire, you know, with the exception of those Wiggins with the Harvey Kurtzman.
Yeah, like,
you know,
many panel pages.
Yeah, like, I mean, but those are just like 25 panel grids mostly, I believe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It's just like changing it up, different like time signatures all over the place. The lettering is unbelievable. Joe's work is unbelievable. It's just like, it's interesting to me that there's a lot of comic book people who this is the only Grendel story that they've ever seen, and it's only because it's, to them, it's a Batman story.
Right.
You know, and so I sort of kind of doubt that they're getting the full effect out of
this
it,
story.
You know, if you haven't read Devil by the Deed, which is not a it's dense, but it's not a hard book to read. This is a harder book to sit through than Devil by the Deed is, because it's 4 times the length.
Right, and there's all these intertwining stories, whereas
Yeah.
Devil by the Deed is kind of like bam, bam. This is like
Yeah.
looking back. I really
Devil
dug.
by the Deed is kind of like a gossip column
Yeah,
in a way.
yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No, I just really dig it too. I thought the storytelling the way he chose to do the storytelling with the 2 ladies and the intertwining of the stories, I really like that. I've read tons of Batman crossovers of every kind, and I think that that this one does it in like a classier way than most. And I think I said that at the beginning too, how there's no warps, there's none of this. But I think that of all the characters that Batman has crossed over with, Grendel is the most like on the level, on par with Batman in a way of intrigue, of of secret identity to hero / villain, the way that their person is kind of like the Masque, or the way that I don't know.
Well, they're wonderful foils for each other.
Absolutely.
Grendel ends the book by saying, where he sought antithesis, he found only a mirror. And so I think I'm left wishing that there was a little bit more of them, a little bit more of Grendel, of Hunter digging into Batman.
Yeah.
So that he'd get the upper hand. That's the only thing I'm left wanting more of. The one, the crossover that sort of struck me as you were talking about crossovers, and I don't even know if it's come out yet, is the Black Hammer Justice League crossover that Jeff Lemire was putting together. Do you know Black Hammer?
I don't know that.
Oh my gosh. It's a Dark Horse property, very similar to Grendel, Hellboy, The Goon, Mage, where it can be one-shots or miniseries or different things. And it's like a superhero Twin Peaks mystery. You'd like it a lot.
Damn.
It's free on Comixology.
Oh, I'm gonna get it then.
Oh, it's very good, and the rhythm and the layout is amazing. So there was supposed to be a Justice League crossover, and I don't know. The world went insane, so I don't know if it happened. Yeah. But yeah, check out Black Hammer. It's really cool.
All right, I will. Well, cool. That's Batman Grendel for you. Next week, I guess we're diving back into Red, White, and Black.
Should be fun.
Yeah, it should be fun. Back to the omnibus, and hopefully we'll have some great guests from Red, White, and Black.
If you'd like to be one of those great guests, send us a line.
Right, or leave us a 5-star review on iTunes for a chance to win a Grendel zine produced by me and Ben.
The Grendel
zine.
Cool.
All right, y'all. Anything else, Ben? Keep on Grendling.
I do want to say one thing else, and it's that it's almost hard to believe that are we approaching the halfway point of Hunter Rose? Or
yeah, I do believe we are. There's Red, White, and Black.
There's Red, White, and Black, which is 8 issues. There's Behold the Devil, which is 8 issues, and there's 3 issues. So we have
Batman
19.
Shadow.
We have 19 more episodes.
Wow.
I don't know about that. There's 19 more comic books worth of content.
Right, of Hunter Rose until we move into the Christine Spar. Yeah. Exciting, Ben.
That was great. Thanks a lot.
Vivat Grendel.
Velveeta G.
Keep on Grendelin. Woo!